Okay, I think we will get started. So welcome everybody. I'm Dawn Campbell, your IAPC&M host for the afternoon sessions of day one of International Coaching Week. And I'm delighted to say we're in for a double bonus this afternoon because whilst it's unfortunate that the lovely Vivienne Joy wasn't able to join us after all today, she has kindly pre-recorded her masterclass on self-sabotage, and that will be available on our blog later. In the meantime, I invite you to join me and Mary Cravets, who is back by popular demand in the hot seat. And I'm especially thrilled because last time when Mary was presenting to the IAPC&M members, I wasn't able to join. So welcome, Mary, and thank you for coming back.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. Interestingly, to mark the end of King Charles's celebratory coronation weekend, he wanted today to be a public day of volunteering, which of course is very opportune, as this is what International Coaching Week is all about. All our expert speakers are paying it forward and sharing with the younger generation so that they can themselves develop the business of their dreams. And of course, the IAPC&M are passionate that all CPD credits are freely available to everybody, not just IAPC&M members. So you're all here with our compliments. So let me introduce Mary to you properly. She's an award-winning expert speaker in the field of lead generation. And today she's going to be sharing with us how we can achieve that with less marketing effort. And I'm sure all the busy entrepreneurs out there all want to know more about your winning formula. And I do apologize if I'm sounding very croaky. I've either got hay fever or a cold, I don't know what, but I feel fine. So just please bear with me. But first of all, before I hand over to Mary, I always like to share something a little bit different, something personal, something quirky about our guest speakers. And it turns out, Mary, we have something in common. We're both beachcombers. We love collecting rocks, and I include that, shells, etc. So what do you do with the rocks? Do you do any rock art?
No, let me see if you can see this over here. So this is, if you can see this is a little otter, and he is floating. These are all little like rocks underneath. And so I've got him floating on a little, and then I've got rocks and sea glass as part of my decor. So
lovely. Okay. Well, I was very sad when I moved house recently. I had to leave my rocks behind because there was just too many. So I'm starting a new collection. But yeah, it's fascinating. Okay, so let's hand over to Mary and hear more about how we can attract more clients with less marketing effort. So over to you, please, Mary.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for inviting me here today. And I'm going to jump right in so we get a lot done today. I'm going to start with a question. Do you ever feel like this? Show of hands. My brain has too many tabs open. Okay, thank you, audience participation. Good start. Well, the good news is that today is not about doing more. Today is understanding how to maximize what's already working in your business and in the industry. Because what I know about you, if you're showing up here, you are accomplished, you are intelligent. I am here with a structure and a system that will help you bring your gifts, bring your brilliance, bring your heart to the table and maximize them so that you're getting more clients, you're earning more money and making a bigger impact with less effort. So today our topic is more clients, less marketing. And you're in the right place if you are a newer business owner and you want to get clients more consistently, and maybe you're not feeling very confident about where to best put your efforts. Or if you are a more experienced business owner and you're looking for insights on how to streamline your client generation so you can be getting the same results, but with less time into your efforts. So here's what we are going to cover today. Number one, you're going to learn a simple mindset tool that helps you melt your resistance to implementing marketing. Second, you're going to create a customized lead generation strategy that will allow you to stop wasting time and money on things that don't work. And then the last thing is that you're going to go over the 6 essential elements of an effective client generation plan to make it easier to attract clients, grow your income, and make a bigger impact in the world. Now, as we go through today, I'm going to recommend you adopt one of my themes for the year, and that is do your homework in class. I'm going to give you time to do some analysis so you can gain clarity right away instead of saying, okay, now you have 72 things on your to-do list. We're going to do it here. I want you to be able to gain clarity right away to get better results right away. And regarding questions, I've made some time about halfway through the Q&A for some Q&A. So I'm going to stay focused on the teaching and not stop for questions while I'm teaching. So we stay focused, on track, and on time. All right, so that's all the housekeeping. And so now I'm going to turn it back over to you. I'm going to ask a question in just a second, and I want you to put your answer like first 10 words that pop into your head. No need to write an essay. So here is the question. Why is this topic important to you? You probably have other places you could be right there, right now, other things you could be doing, but you're here. So why is this topic important to you and to your business? I'd love to see your answers in the chat. Now, I know it takes everybody just a minute to get to their chat. Sometimes you have a couple windows open. All right. Want to pivot to the next level and scale my business. Fantastic, Catalina. Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of times when we think about scaling our business, we go to all new strategy or all new tactics, and really making sure the foundation we're going to talk about today, the 6 essential elements, is a critical part of that. So that's going to be really helpful. Let's see. I want to understand more about digital marketing, especially. I'm not going to talk too much about digital marketing, except for the role it should play in your business. So Rhea, if I don't come to that, please just tag me on it or ask the question. More marketing, a little easier, attract more clients, more time coaching, less time finding clients. Perfect. Want to spend more time coaching and helping. I'm a new coach and would like to attract more clients. Growing my business, make work life easier, attract more clients. Organization issues and putting effort into the right place and get the right feedback. Yes, absolutely. Don't want to waste time with marketing that isn't working for me. Amen. Absolutely. To feel more comfortable talking to clients. I'm a new coach, new to social media too. Okay, definitely talk about digital marketing. We'll talk about social media and where the role it should play in a coach's business the majority of the time. I'm just about to start a coaching business. All right, how automation in marketing works and all of the above. Okay, well, it sounds like you're all in the right place. So before we dive in, I want to give you just a brief background as to where all of this comes from, because whenever I learn from someone, I want to know, is this something they read in a book? Is this a theory they're testing on me? And I want to assure you that it is from my in the trenches experiences, because now, yes, I run a great training company. We've been around for 12 years. I'm on track for the 500,000 mark, but in my first few years of business, it did not look anything like this. I was running in dozens of different directions. I was completely excited to be delivering the value, being in alignment with my values, but I was not charging what I was worth. I had no real plan to attract clients consistently and to reach my goals. And instead, I just kept pushing and pushing, working longer hours, adding more and more to my plate, and ignoring some warning signs. And in less than 2 years, I completely burned out. I was diagnosed with adrenal exhaustion, and suddenly I only had 4 hours of energy to work each week. As I was trying to figure out how to navigate this crisis, my mind just raced with thoughts like, well, who do you think you are? What's wrong with you? Why can't you figure that out? So helpful, right? But then luckily, a louder voice, a clearer voice broke through with a question. And this is what changed things for good. And it's the first thing I'm going to recommend you write down. The question that popped into my head was, what's working? How is it? what's working, because I no longer had the time or energy to chase down whatever social media is doing with its algorithms this week, or look after what is the latest marketing trend. I needed to know that whatever I put my very limited energy into, that it would actually produce results. And starting with just that one question, my business started to grow as I started to recover my health. And over time, it developed into this bigger system. This is what helped me double my business several times over. And it's the reason my clients consistently increase their income 50% or more. And it's what I'm going to share with you today. So let's get started. I'm going to start with a simple mindset tool to melt resistance to implementing marketing, because the fact is, the strategies I'm going to teach you today, they will clarify how to best spend your time in marketing. But if marketing, if client generation, lead generation, if they all fall to the bottom of your list, or you have resistance to putting yourself out there, we've got to address mindset first, or it won't matter what you learn here today, you will snap back to doing what you've always done. So here is the tool. It is a single, simple question that gently but persistently shifts your perspective. It is the question, am I willing for this to be easy? That's it. Am I willing for this to be easy? Now, this works because your brain's essentially wired to say yes. When you tell yourself something is going to be difficult, when you tell yourself you don't want to look pushy, when you focus on all of that, your brain says, yes, let me give you evidence that this is true. Let me throw obstacles in your way. You feel like you're resistant? You got it. We'll give you more resistance. But when you have this question, am I willing for this to be easy? And use it almost like a mantra. Am I willing for this to be easy? Am I willing for this to be easy? Your brain says, yes, I'm going to do away with all that pesky stress and resistance and serve up some simple solutions. It's just like, it's like a warm knife through butter. It just lets you cut through the resistance and get on to doing the things that will ultimately lead to making that impact on your clients. And here's the thing, is using this question as a foundation. It's not just some like, nice to have airy fairy. It actually makes a profound difference in your stress levels and the results in your business. And I have just a great story about this. This is Candace. She owns a very established training and coaching company. And she had tried time and time again to scale her company, but she just kept snapping back to doing the same things she'd always done. And she was stuck. She was working a ton of hours to keep up with all of her clients, undercharging, feeling exhausted. And when she was with her family, she felt guilty for not working. When she was working, she felt guilty about not being with her family. And at the most fundamental level, what was going on is she didn't believe that business could be easier. So before we dove into the scaling strategies like delegating, raising prices, hiring, all of those things, we had to break this cycle of mindset. But when we did, she doubled her business 2 years in a row, and she's got more time off than ever. So start with this mindset. Put it on a little note, put it on your desktop, put it somewhere that you can see it all the time. Let this be a very positive influence going into your mind all the time. All right, ready to roll up your sleeves and do some work, I hope. At this point, I'm going to recommend you get out a piece of paper or a blank document, something that you can write on. Rhea does have access. She's got a link to a handout. She may drop it in the chat from time to time. You can do this work without the handout, but if you would like it for future reference, she can provide that for you. All right, so we're going to help you create a customized lead generation strategy that will allow you to stop wasting time and money on things that don't work. This is one of the things I saw in the chat a few times, because here's the thing, there are so many options to market your business. How do you distinguish your winning combination of lead generation actions from all the noise, all the expert advice out there, all the noise? Well, that's what we're going to do today. And just to show you where we are on the overall map, today we're going to start your custom formula for lead generation. And the place we have to start is to stop the overwhelm, because I'm sure you know that anything that you are doing, any strategies you're implementing, they are taking your time. But the thing that most people don't consider is the mental drain, that all of the things you're considering doing or thinking you should be doing or wondering if it's going to work for you, all of those things, they are on this messy mental list right now. And every single one of those things, whether you're executing them or not, they are stealing your energy. So I want to get all of those out of your mind, out onto paper, out into a document, so that we can sort out and figure out what's going to work best for you. So here's how you're going to approach this. I'm going to give you time to do a brainstorm. And this brainstorm, you are going to list all of the activities you do consistently, everything you do inconsistently, everything you think you should be doing, everything you're curious about trying, everything you see advertised to you on social media saying you absolutely have to do this or you're going to fail, which is horrible, but it's out there. So I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to be completely quiet for 1 minute. I'm going to let you do a speed round of brainstorming starting now. Got about 20 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1, pencils down. Okay, so this may be what your list looks like. A lot going on, and doing all of this, 1, you don't have the time, 2, you don't want to, 3, it's not going to be effective. So let's go to the next step, which is identifying what works for you. So once you've got this brainstorm, you're going to focus further on the marketing activities that will bring you great clients. In the second column, you're going to write down the names of your favorite clients. Let's say 5 of them for the purposes of our time today. Just write down the names of 5 clients. And I want you to make sure to write down great clients. You see this smiley face in the upper right-hand corner of your screen? Yes, that's important. That actually is an instruction that you do not want to include clients who give you that sinking feeling in your stomach, or that frown line between your eyes, the ones who haggle. You don't want them. Those are PITA clients, those pain in the ass clients. You don't want to include them, because what I'm going to show you is actually going to help you multiply your results. You don't want to multiply the PITAs. If you are a new coach or just starting, I'm going to give you a different way to evaluate. So hang in there. I will make sure to get you something you can use as well. But for those of you who have been in business for a while, you have your clients. For the purposes of our time today, writing down 5 clients. You can do a deeper dive evaluation outside of our time here today. Write those down. And then how do you create a bridge between your marketing actions and getting clients who you just adore and who adore you back? The answer is to simply draw a line from the name of the client back to the marketing activity that brought them to your door. And generally, you will find there is a concentration. Now, let me be clear, what you're seeing on the screen, this is not the answer key. Everyone's answer is going to be a little bit different. Now, while those of you who have clients are kind of pondering this, doing a little more analysis, maybe adding a few people to your list to keep evaluating, for those of you who are new, what I want you to do is write down 3 words. 3 words. This is how you're going to evaluate your marketing. 3 words. Number 1 is like. L-I-K-E, like. The second word is know, K-N-O-W, as in knowledge. Know. Like, know. And the last one is results. So like, know, results. What you're going to do is you're going to take this list of marketing activities that you're considering and go through them 3 times. The first time you're going to go through and you're going to say, which of these do I like? Which do I like to do? And put a check mark next to them. looking for the things that you like to do, you will experience a lot less resistance. So that's the first evaluation. The second time, you're going to go through and say, okay, which of these do I know how to do? What do I know how to do here? And put a check mark next to each of the things you know how to do. All right. And then the third thing is going to be what traditionally gets results in your industry. And I'm going to give you the answer to this one. Number one way that coaches get clients worldwide is through referrals. That's number one. Number two is through speaking. Now, there are other things that do work, but those are the top two. So if you're looking to find that sweet spot, the know-like results, where there's an overlap, where you have those 3 check marks, that's where you're going to want to focus the majority of your time. Okay, so starting there, what did you discover? This is our first Q&A break. So I'm going to ask you to either share in the chat or just unmute yourself, raise your hand, whatever your favorite method of interaction is. What did you discover? This is the audience participation portion of our program today. Okay, let's see. Aurora says the simplicity of it. Fantastic. Now, here's the thing. I don't need you to just like nod and agree. If this didn't work for you or you have a question, I mean, like, that's what I'm here for. Let's work this out. So please you don't need to 100% agree with me. And if this didn't work out perfectly, definitely unmute and let's talk.
I kind of got slightly stuck because I got a bad audio for a minute there and I lost the like and the no bit. Oh. So I'm kind of a bit behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sue, okay, no worries. No worries.
I'll get the workbook and I can catch up.
Yes, perfect. All right. And I'm getting a comment, need a little more time to write it all down. And okay, great. I see a hand up. Gosia, is that right?
Yes, I think I focus on one platform. This was my comment on the chat. I think this is my problem, that I'm trying to post to 3 different platforms and it's overwhelming, as you said, overwhelming very much. But what you said, it's very vital. Yes, it's like knowing where your heart belongs to, which type of clients it sits in, because you will not drain out yourself. Yes. Trying to spread all over the place, and it can persist longer, especially in those moments which are very tough when you're bombarded with probably requests, and as well you wanting to carry on with the posting whatever you are contributing there, adverts or whatsoever. I think the most important, which I like to focus on, choose the one and just be there present and consistent, as you said.
Yes, absolutely. So when we're talking about whatever you're doing, whether it's social media, whether it's networking, whatever you're doing, being consistent it's just the name of the game. It just is. Yeah.
Even algorithms of those platforms look at consistency, not on how many you are on. Yes?
Right. Yeah. Well, and let me dive a little deeper, because I was hinting at this at the beginning, talking about the role that social media in general plays in a coach's business. So I think about marketing as like it's a big monster. There's so many parts and pieces to it. There's so many things you can attack and directions you can go. But I like to simplify it down to thinking about it falling into 2 buckets. 2 buckets. Okay, so over here you have visibility and credibility. And over here, I apparently have round buckets. I don't know what this is. So a bucket. Over here, this is lead generation. Okay, so visibility and credibility is the stuff out there in the world that if someone stumbles upon it, they will say, oh, they look like they know what they're doing. Visibility, credibility. It requires your ideal client to find you. Lead generation is about throwing yourself in your ideal client's path. Okay. And the problem arises. And so that's things like speaking, networking, referral generation, developing centers of influence, those kind of activities. And the problem arises more often than not when people are treating visibility and credibility like it should be giving them lead generation results. And so the confusion over social media, that's the biggest thing. Okay, look at Gustia's face. Oh.
Yeah, this is cool. This is really cool.
Was that worth the price of it? Was that worth the price of admission?
Yeah, breakthrough.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So what I know is that for coaches and most service-based businesses in general, putting majority of your efforts into lead generation and less into social media. This is like, so what generally happens is someone will say, okay, I need a coach. And someone says, oh, Vicky, you got to talk to Vicky. She's amazing. So she's referred by someone. Vicky's feeling great right now, by the way. Someone will recommend her. And then that person who receives a referral will say, oh, let me go check her out. And they'll go online, and guess what they're not looking for? They're not looking to see if you're an Instagram star. They're not looking for, the most robust presence on LinkedIn. They want to see if you represent yourself clearly, if what your friend told you matches up with what they see online, if you appear the same across channels. So for social media, making sure that it is like, I usually say if you post once a week to the channels where you once or twice a week to the channels you choose, you're probably going to be in good shape. All right. Yay. I love talking about that. Okay. So let me, I'm going to go back in the chat. I'm going to review some of the things people say. Let's see. Vicky said a clear and simple way of finding the way forward for me. Great. It's good to see what's working and feel motivated to do more of that. Fantastic. Cynthia says, do you think the result might differ depending on the different cultures? Absolutely, 100%. And this is why I don't pop in here and say, okay, here are the 3 strategies you have to do. Because here's the fact. Some people do massive search engine optimization, and they're going to get most of their clients through their website. So they should focus there. Culturally, if there's a different way that people connect, and that's how it's working, that's how you should connect. And this is why I'm just, oh my God, I was about to say, that's why I'm such a fan of my work. But what I mean is the fan of this idea of evaluating and finding your answers. I mean, it kind of sounds like coaching, right? Evaluate, find your answers. And instead of this, I mean, the stuff online just makes me sick, where it's like, everyone has to do this or your business is going to fail. I mean, I've seen this message and it makes me, okay, we don't have to go into what makes me mad in my industry. Let's focus on what works. So let's see. Don't need to be everywhere at once. Okay, great. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, Ross is happy to get this advice at the beginning of your coaching career. Yes, my pleasure. Yeah, there is no one size fits all. Okay, any other questions? Thoughts? Okay. Well, here's what I want to do, because the next step down the road with this content, like the next place to go, it becomes incredibly detailed. And it's not the kind of thing we can do here today, because what needs to happen is you have this great idea or this great, now you've had this aha, like, oh, I should focus on whatever, fill in the blank, speaking. Let's say it's speaking. Well, that's great. That's what to do. Now, what do you do about it? How many times have you gone to a presentation? You're like, yeah, I'm so excited. It's like, now what? So the next thing to do is you've got to turn these strategies into actions, 100% controllable actions. So let's say speaking is one of the things that came up on your list. You're like, oh, I love speaking. It's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to show my credibility, my expertise, serve people, align with my values, the whole enchilada. So if that's something that works for you, then you have to say, okay, what are the actions? What are the actions? Because speaking isn't an action. I mean, it is, but there's actions before it. So what's the action? Action is you got to get booked. So the first action is speaking inquiries, research and speaking inquiries. So boiling it down to what are the actions? If it's referral generation, and I use these two because across the board, they seem to be they are the top two ways that coaches get clients. So if it's referrals, who are you going to contact, to nurture, to be referral partners, to create centers of influence? Centers of influence are people who come across your ideal client on a consistent basis. They can be great sources of referrals for you. So how do you do that? And as I said before, this is highly detailed. So instead of trying to cover everything today, I'm going to put in your hands courses, because maybe you don't want to learn about speaking, but you'd like to know how to make referrals not just this great idea and something that feels like it just happens, but how to systematically generate more. So I'm going to put in your hands a couple of courses, mini courses that will kickstart your efforts. And this is my gift to you. This is Happy International Coaching Week. And if you're listening to the recording or are on the live, feel free to go ahead and take me up on this as well. So 2 courses. One is Referral Generation Made Simple. It's great if you would love more referrals, but don't know how to systematically generate more. It's a very concentrated 90-minute training. It's got an action guide. It's got templates. It's like how to ask for a referral without feeling awkward. Everything you need so you don't have to waste time figuring it all out. And the second thing is for speakers, how to fill your speaking calendar. This will help so you can attract more clients through speaking. And speaking would be great if you could just get on more stages. So this also, templates, checklists, scripting, exactly what I've used to book hundreds and hundreds of speaking gigs. So if you would like those, here's what you're going to do. We're going to go low tech. Send me an email, Mary@simplygetclients.com. Mary@simplygetclients.com. I'm going to put this in the chat too, just for simplicity's sake. You can put an email to me, Mary@simplygetclients.com, and just put in the subject line smile, because I know more referrals, more business will make you smile. And I do recommend go ahead and do that now. This is one of those homework in class things, because I know you may be attending other trainings. You may have people in your house you need to feed or dogs to walk, whatever. It can get lost in the shuffle. So I'll give you a minute right now to send me that email. And I'll make sure to get you those courses. It's just the logical next step. Okay. So what does that look like? Once you have these things in place, what does it look like? And it's just once you get these things in place, or once you start thinking this way, thinking very systematically about how your business, how you can be attracting new clients, it should become almost like a formula. And I have a great story about this. This is John. He's the former CFO of Microsoft North America. When we crossed paths, he was a brand new executive coach. He'd gotten some clients. He just hung out a shingle, but he realized that all of his successes in corporate America, it didn't translate into knowing how to successfully run his new business, and particularly attract clients. It was just a completely different skill set. So after doing the exercise you just did, we took his top strategies and we worked backwards from his goal. And this is how we create a formula. What is the income goal? How many clients do you need? Based on your closing ratio, how many prospects did he need? And this all led to a short list of 100% controllable activities to do on a monthly basis that did not take up all of his time. It leveraged his existing network and resources, and it honored his strengths and preferences. And that's what he did month after month. And what happened for him is that he doubled an already strong year. A formula with predictable results. That is what we are going for here. And someone asked, how do you protect yourself from burnout? This is basically how you do it. This is how you do it. You are very intentional. And what I'm going to show you next is going to just be that next layer of intentionality. That next layer of intentionality. And the more intentional with your efforts you are, the more clear you are with your strategy and all parts of your strategy, the less work you have to do, the more confidence you'll have in what you're doing. And that way you keep it very simple and protect yourself from burnout. Because believe me, that's what this is what it's all about. My story at the beginning, that's the real thing. You have to be intentional with your efforts. Otherwise, you're just running in a million different directions. Okay, I'm going to go into the next part of the teaching, and we should have some time for Q&A at the end. I just want to make sure to get everything in before the end of our time here today. So we're going to dive into the 6 essential elements of an effective client generation plan that makes it easier to attract clients, grow your income, and make a bigger impact in the world. Because in order to succeed with a business, you must have a client generation system in place that consistently attracts high quality clients. So how I'm going to help you get started with this is with a simple assessment to understand where you are right now with your client generation plan. Because what I know for sure is you have probably learned some of these things and other things are missing or they're underperforming. And the fact is, if any piece is missing, then the whole system slows down. It's more effort and more likely to go towards burnout instead of the business you really want. And because we're busy, because we're doers, it's easy for the for evaluation to kind of get lost in the shuffle. So that's what I really want you to focus on today, is evaluating, so that outside of here, you're going to know where to focus your efforts. So I'm going to simplify this. We're just going to look at these core elements. I'm going to define each of them, and I recommend you write them down. Then you will assess how clearly defined they are in your business on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is low and 10 is high. Don't overthink it, just whatever your gut reaction is. Now, starting on the left with values and vision. Most coaches are very comfortable, very clear about their values. And what this has to do with client generation is that when you have these things clear, when you have that higher purpose, when you know where you're going and who you are, and really let that be pervasive in your business, you create a sense of conviction, which is absolutely essential if you need to build up your confidence to ask to be paid what you're worth. You need that nudge, you need that higher purpose in order to be willing to put yourself out there, even if you're risking rejection. So on a scale of 1 to 10, are you clear about your values, your vision, and your goals? Next is pricing and packaging. Now, this is pretty obvious, but it is important. Is your pricing structured so it's honoring your expertise and you're owning your value? Is it structured so you are paying yourself decently instead of just rolling everything back into the business? The bottom line question is, are you clear and confident that your pricing is where it needs to be in order for you to reach your financial goals, be a profitable business, and stay in business? The next piece is your ideal client. And just a little tip here, when you're thinking about describing your ideal client, that description never starts with the words, I'd be willing to work with, okay? You've got to get clear about who is ideal. Who is the best? Who can you serve at the highest level? Who will pay you at the highest level? And then start building your business, your client generation around that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how clear are you about your ideal client, who they are, what they're thinking, and where you can find them? The next piece is messaging. Messaging basically takes everything you know about your ideal client and then translates it into words everywhere they show up in your business. It's your websites, your talks, your social media posts, your introduction when someone asks you that dreaded question, what do you do? And the key to making your messaging magnetic is communicating the value of what you do quickly so that people you meet, they hire you faster. And here's the thing, I've worked with clients and we just dial in their messaging And one of my clients in the past, he just changed this. He didn't change anything else. And he doubled his referrals within 30 days. So on a scale of 1 to 10, rate the clarity, the magnetism of your messaging. And the way to think about this is when someone asks you, what do you do? Are you able to communicate the value quickly? Number 5 is lead generation. Now you got started on this today. This is the start. What you did today is the start. And then to assess what you have in place right now, think about, do you have that specific set of actions that works to bring in leads every month on a consistent basis? Are you consistently putting yourself in a position to make offers to let people know about your business? I did notice someone raised their hand. I'm going to get back to you after I complete the content, just so it's very congruent. All right, last is sales and enrollment. Once someone says they're interested, can you convert them into a paying client? And this means having a sales process, a way to conduct a conversation that removes the guesswork of how to get people to see the value. How do you explain, but not over explain what you do so that people are attracted to work with you? If you work with corporations, do you have a method for making sure that your proposals don't get stuck in the layers of decision makers? So on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your ability to close the sale once someone says they are interested. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. We're going to use the chat one more time today. So go ahead and open up the chat, and I want you to share the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you this question. Here's the question. What do you imagine would be different, or how do you imagine you'd feel if all of these were running at a 10? How would you feel if all of these were at a 10? Successful, free and peaceful, amazing, peaceful. That's interesting. Peace. But fanatics, I bet you meant fantastic, Eve. Of service, calm and happy. Yeah. Excited, fantastic. It's fulfilling, fulfilled, proud, relieved. Yes. Awesome. Proud. And for those of you who want to build your business beyond yourself, getting everything to a 10 is also the key to not having to do it all yourself. Getting the strategy dialed in so that you're producing income, clients consistently. At some point, you get to hand off some of these things. So long-term, that's how you take even more off your plate. And if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. All right. So now you've assessed and you know what needs attention. You know where to focus your efforts. And that's what it's about. This is about focus. It's about intentionality. And then the key to all this working is staying on track and consistent, not getting distracted or reinventing your plan every few weeks. And I know consistency. It's not exciting. It's not sexy. And we all fall victim to that bright, shiny object syndrome, but it's so important, especially when you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to your business. And I know many of you and many of us, we are challenged by the creativity thing and not wanting to spend a lot of time on the business part of it. As much as possible, want to be in the delivering of services. And this was definitely the case for Kimberly. I want to share her story with you before we wrap up. And like a lot of clients, she had a clear vision. She had strong values. She understood why she was so committed to coaching, but she was feeling discouraged because she was always second guessing where to put her efforts to grow her business. And like me, and maybe like you, she has this creative streak. So she kept trying new things. But trying new things, it didn't lead to getting that traction and growth. Instead, she was always feeling busy instead of productive, like she was spinning her wheels. So we worked together. We got very clear about each element of her plan, those 6 elements we just talked about. So she knew with certainty that the work she put into her business would actually pay off. She channeled her creative energy into implementation rather than constant creation mode. And within 6 months, it gave her the confidence she needed to really commit to her coaching business full time. All right. I know you're super excited for Kimberly right now, but what needs to happen now to make some magic happen for you? So let's wrap this up by thinking about how to create lasting impact. So the first thing is, what is one bite-sized action you can take that you discovered here today? Don't need to put this in the chat. This is for you. And I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to give you a full thinking minute. And if you want more than a minute, we can negotiate that. I'm going to give you a full minute to put together a mini action plan of your bite-sized action you can do from what we learned here today. All right, got about 30 seconds. All right, I'm going to give you just a little more time in case that's helpful. Okay. So bite-sized is great. Love bite-sized, but you may have more than one thing on your list. So if that's the case, I want to make sure to get the creative centers of your mind on board. So go ahead and put your pen down, take your hands off the keyboard. Let's step away for a second. Your strategic part of your brain has been working pretty hard. We want to get the creative centers on board. So I want you to take a deep breath and imagine having a steady stream of great clients coming in. These are clients who happily pay you what you're worth. You're making a difference. You're known for your expertise and your brilliance. And to attract those clients, you have a plan. And it's not just any plan, it's a plan full of things that you actually like to do, things that are simple, clearly defined. They don't take all your time, and you always feel authentic. You know exactly what to do, where to go, and what to say to take prospects from a handshake to signing on the bottom line as a client. And you do this with confidence and with consistency and with ease. Take a deep breath. Open your eyes if you close them. Is that a vision you can get behind? Yes, I hope so. The world needs you. So this brings us to the second piece. And that is, if you don't currently have 10s across the board with your client generation plan, you are probably spending way too much time wondering or worrying about where your next client is coming from. So the second thing is, what is your plan to get everything to a 10, get that plan together, and then not get distracted so that a year from now, you are not wondering and worrying about the exact same things. Now, if you don't have a plan, that 10s across the board plan, then I am happy to get on a call with you and talk it through. We'll look at your current plan together as it stands today. We'll look at the holes, we'll look at the blind spots and opportunities, and then explore solutions to help you reach your goals faster and with less stress. So to get on my calendar, it's a breakthrough call. It's a complimentary call. But before I give you the link, I do have 2 criteria I want to make sure you know about. So number 1, you need to be open to receiving straightforward feedback. Probably not a surprise after hearing me for 40 minutes. And the second thing is be willing to consider investing in yourself. If we both see that working together further will give you that tens across the board plan, so you're enrolling new clients consistently. That reasonable? Yes? Okay. So here's the link, breakthroughcall.biz. It's a scheduling link. And if you're thinking, okay, Mary must be a mind reader because it sounds like exactly the conversation I need to have. The timing is perfect, but you're jotting it down and you're going to get around to it later. I encourage you, once again, do your homework in class and schedule now, so all of this clarity and good intention doesn't get lost in the shuffle. And actually, you know what would be incredibly helpful is if someone would click on that, and maybe Rhea can do it, click on the link. Oh, I meant to put the link in the chat. But I just literally in the middle of the presentation realized that I didn't focus on setting times for availability for the European part of the world. So if you're finding a lot of times like 2 a.m., please let me know and I'll adjust that as quickly as I can and make availability for you. I promise I will not make you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to have a conversation. Okay, I'm just going to wrap this up and then we'll have a few minutes for Q&A. Before I started this business, I'd actually been living out the results of another business. And it was a business where I was settling, undercharging, overworking, wasn't 100% in alignment with my values. And 12 years ago, I woke up and I was like, what am I doing? What am I thinking? This cannot possibly be my life. I'm so done with this, but I didn't have a picture of where I could go next. So I dragged myself to a meeting kind of similar to this. And I heard the sentence, a sentence that the speaker spoke. And after hearing that, it made not knowing what was next, it made it not important. It lit a fire in me. And after that meeting, I quit my business. I phased out my clients and I made space. I made that space. And I created this strategy to step into my strength, my big vision, and tremendous results have followed because of that leap. And here's the quote. A major source of unhappiness in the world is people settling for what is passable instead of reaching for what is possible. Every time I present, my hope is that not only have I maybe stretched your idea of what is possible, but on top of that, equipped you with tools and perspective shifts and strategies that will make those possibilities your reality just a little bit sooner. Thank you for letting me serve you on International Coaching Week. And I'm going to stop the share and we'll have a few minutes for questions. All right. Questions, comments. Are all of my times for my calendar at 2 o'clock in the morning? They are, aren't they? That's the one thing I forgot to do. All right. All right. Thank you for the nice comments. Anyone want to hop on and give either a question or even a, here's the next thing I'm going to do?
Perhaps what we'll do now then is what I always do at the end of every masterclass, Mary, is 60-second CPD, because as you quite rightly said, do the homework in the class. If people leave their CPD logs, their continuous professional development logs, until the end of the week, after 20 masterclasses during this fabulous online complimentary event, your brain will be buzzing fit to burst and you're not going to remember all those key nuggets from each class. So I encourage you now, we'll be quiet for 60 seconds, and on your CPD log, just take a note of your key takeaways for today that you are definitely going to put into action as soon as you possibly can, because we know that the sooner you take action, the much more likely you are to do it. And CPD logs are available with our compliments on our website if you don't have one, but just either use the chat box or use your CPD log. What is it you're going to do differently as a result of investing in yourself in this last 45 minutes, please?
and I do encourage you to put it into the chat, because one thing I found is just amazing, like the power of a group, that idea of like seeing what someone else is doing and then being able to springboard off of that. It sometimes just greases the wheels so that it gets you to the thinking or the idea that you need. All right. Great. Going to revisit vision and values. Fantastic. And Sue, are you open to coming on? Can I ask you a question? Yeah.
Yeah, if I can remember how to unmute. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you, like, what are the things in your business that you want to see? What kind of results are you looking to have shift?
I'm clear on who my ideal customer is.
Perfect.
But this is a contradiction, but I can also sense a lack of clarity in as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not very helpful, probably. But when I looked through the question, the one that resonated the most was the vision and values. So I'm kind of going a little bit with gut feeling at this point. Yeah,
Perfect.
That I think everything else will shift slightly, and the scores of the other things will go up when I revisit vision and values.
Perfect. Yes. Right. And one of the things, and Gosia, I'll get to you in just a sec. One of the things that I know is that vision and values is often treated very separately from client generation. And probably the most powerful thing I did was start with my vision and values. And I know I love, like mine are impact, freedom, and variety. And I have to know how to serve those in pretty much everything I do. And so I have to make my lead generation have impact speaking. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not even going to show up to do it. So yes, making sure that everything that thread weaves through clearly and really honoring it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
Enjoy. All right. Gosia.
A quick question, if I understood this correctly, then you are providing as well the service with coaching people who wants to boost the business or start from the scratch the business, yes, with ideas and encouraging them to or keeping them intact with it, yes, to avoid a burnout. Yeah.
You're asking what my business is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was interested in that element we were talking about. You mentioned this right now as well about speaking yourself, speaking out, speaking loud. It's like you are providing ideas as well, or
okay.
examples.
So yes, yeah. So my business is all about serving coaches to simplify client generation. Like, what's the quickest, fastest, most painless strategy for you to generate new business? And speaking is one of those areas that is effective and is about making an impact. Now, one of the courses that I mentioned, I said, email me and I'll make sure to get you this course. That is around how to get booked, because that's really the first step. I mean, there's a whole strategy. And one thing just to clarify is there are many ways to use a speaking strategy. Keynote, paid keynotes, training and corporations. There's mine is speaking for lead generation. Did anyone notice that I gave value and I had a clear invitation to work together further? Yes. So I am absolutely committed to changing the way speakers for this kind of presentation do it, because sometimes it's terribly ineffective for them because they won't invite people to work with them. And there are people in your audiences who are ready to work with you, and there are a bunch who aren't. And that's okay. It's not about convincing everyone. So there are presentations you'll see they're ineffective for the speaker. You'll see presentations that are ineffective for the audience because they don't provide value, and it is one soup to nuts sales pitch. And I want people to know how to be seen as an expert and proudly, respectfully ask for the business for those who want it. Okay, off my platform. I'm getting off my platform now because because we're running right down
Thank
to the
you.
wire time, but yes.
Can I ask about the handout, which I followed the link to just a second ago, and it's just a one page with just an introduction to you. I didn't know whether it
Oh,
would.
no. Oh my gosh, I gave the wrong. You mean you don't want my speaker introduction? You don't find that terribly helpful?
I'll read it with huge interest later, but I thought there might be more.
Oh my God, Sue, I'm so glad you said something. Okay, I gave the wrong one to Rhea. Everyone's probably been scratching their head like, ooh, Mary
Thank
wants
you.
us to know all about her. The one I just put in the chat is the correct one, I promise. All right. Dawn, I know that we've got a time. It's time, isn't it?
Yes, it is time. So I'd like to obviously thank you very, very much for everything that you've done today, Mary. And as I said, particularly stepping into the breach at such short notice. Anybody who has events and wants a speaker, you can trust that Mary has got good content and can respond really, really quickly. So thank you for that, Mary. Really appreciate that. So just to recap, we're coming up towards the last call of the day, which in fact is Lisa Reed, a friend of Mary's, and Mary's just created the beautiful segue for Lisa, who's going to be talking about getting speaking gigs now. So that will bring us to the end of day one of International Coaching Week. So if you enjoyed the talk with Mary, then you're definitely going to enjoy her friend's talk at 5:30. So please do come back. So all times are UK times. I'll be hosting again. And as I say, Lisa will be delivering her masterclass on getting speaking gigs. So I think it will really dovetail really nicely with what you've just learnt from Mary. So thank you very much again, Mary. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you everybody from all around the world for joining us. And hopefully I will see you in about an hour's time for the last call of today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.